All right, hi everybody. I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe and healthy. Um, I'm going to be talking about Larry Sultan today. He is a photographer that I've looked up to for many years now, and the power of documentary photography. So let's get started. Okay, so just a little bit about him. He grew up in the San Fernando Valley in California. The Valley became a big source of inspiration for a number of his projects. His work blends documentary and staged photographs. He got his MFA from the San Francisco Art Institute, the MFA in photography, and he is most well known for his pioneering book and exhibition, Pictures from Home. However, he was also known for The Valley and Homeland, which were both very successful series as well, and they all are incorporated in his book, Here and Home, which I own and I love. So what my research is about is how his work creates a boundary between the documentary and the staged, as well as how this idea connects the two. I'm also investigating how these ideas raise questions and more ideas of history, memory, and time. So first off, his discipline and practice was an exploration of the photographic image in formal terms and its implications in cultural terms. So he was interested in narrative complexities and visual structure, and he also continuously managed a playfulness about his artistic concerns along with that, and he was always playing on the idea of the conventional and the predictable. He would poke at the anatomy of form itself to see if there were other ways of making a picture or telling a story. So ultimately, though, underlying those conceptual moments, content, and meaning, he was telling stories about who he was as well as the people close to him. By photographing his parents, he reversed the social norm. In his book, Here and Home, he discusses themes like the sense of power, identity, and self-creation he experienced on the other side of the camera. I think he had a way of connecting to viewers through photography that has not been done before, and it made it super relatable, and it goes to show that like a series that was made in the 80s can transcend time like to today in the present time, and it's still being connected in deep ways to young viewers like me. This portrait of home, though, does not evoke all of the pretty things in life. It has a lot of more critical underlying issues like aging, disparity, wealth, and the ubiquitous family values. His work makes the viewer pause, step back, and think about time differently. He did spend his career documenting California life from a perspective that seems at once familiar to maybe someone who has never even been. And I think that is a huge thing about the way he photographs, because if you're someone that's never been there to California or experienced this area but can still feel those feelings of what it might have felt like to be there, just by looking at the photograph is a pretty amazing thing. He had an ability to capture the passing of time before it's even passed. His subjects are placed within scenes of domestic life, but their focus seems elsewhere. It's like a small instinctive chaos inside this cookie-cutter setting that is super mesmerizing. The history of the moment was important to him, and the history of the time that he was making these photographs. These were the Reagan years, when the image and the institution of family were being used as inspiration in the political system. He said he wanted to puncture that myth and show what happens when we are driven by images of success. I think something super interesting about Larry Sultan is that he recognizes and he knows his power as a photographer, and he is using those powers to utilize it in a way that's effective and visually pleasing, and also creating a narrative that has so many different ideas and aspects underlying it. You can see that this series seems pretty linear, right, to him, his relationship to his parents, the rise of capitalism and the American dream. However, though, like I said earlier, I think it's a pretty universal experience to many viewers. And that's when I knew that I was connected to his work. So I visited his exhibition here at home when I was at the Milwaukee Art Museum, I think like 5 years ago. And I remember the feeling because his work made me super excited and inspired, even just as a senior in high school who didn't really know what they wanted in life. And at that point, I was just dabbling in the idea of majoring in photography. So fast forward through 4 years of art school, all of my work has circulated around family, identity, and generations and lessons, which has been greatly inspired by Larry Sultan. So these are highlights from my BFA exhibition. I was also greatly inspired by Larry's use of light and composition and form, and that beautiful California light that he was able to capture throughout most of his images, how it just flows so nicely throughout. So, to begin the conclusion, Larry Sultan showed us through his photographs that he makes nods to history, he correlates memory, and is making images using time very specifically. So one quote I loved from his book that he talked about is, "What drives me to make this work has more to do with love than with sociology, being a subject in the drama rather than a witness." So he's really placing himself like in these moments, and like I said earlier, he has a way of capturing time before it even passes. So it's like these liminal moments, the time in between time, that makes these so mesmerizing. He realized beyond the rolls of film and the amazing photos, the demands of his project and confusion of the meaning of why he was doing this is the wish for him to take photography literally. And another quote he said was, he wants his parents to live forever. Alright, that is it. Thank you very much. I hope you learned something and were a little inspired. And again, I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, staying at home, and congratulations on almost finishing the semester.